Alright, good morning students. I know today is a Sunday, but let's carry on with the lessons. Whenever you have time, you can watch the video today or you can watch it tomorrow morning. Alright, now we are discussing control and coordination in plants and animals. We still haven't come to plants, but we are discussing mainly about animals. And now, after discussing what is reflex action, what is reflex arc, how muscles, the nerves, the different types of nerves in the body help to coordinate responses to external stimuli. Now today, yesterday I also began discussion on the human brain. Okay, so let's begin from the human brain once again. First of all, the brain, as I said, is the master organ of the body. It is the controlling center. Okay, it is the place from where the organ from where all the functions of the human body are controlled. Okay, if someone is brain dead, that person becomes absolutely lifeless. Okay, he can't function at all. His organs may still be functioning, the kidney, the pancreas, the intestines, but he would be otherwise completely lifeless. The brain controls lots of functions, and there are certain centers of the brain which control thinking, okay, and behavior, and they also control the way. For example, there is a center of the brain which actually controls body temperature. It's called the thermoregulator. It is somewhere in the central part of the brain. A small amount of liquid which is called the thermoregulatory liquid, and this liquid actually controls or regulates body temperature. And there are many other centers of the brain. The five senses, okay, they have their centers in the brain. The visual center, visual cortex, okay, the sense of hearing, the sense of touch, all those things are actually connected to the brain. So if the brain doesn't function, nothing functions. Alright, now we see we also discussed about different parts of the brain, and we are talking about how the brain, okay, has different sections. If you look at the brain, you can actually Google online and see photographs of the actual brain. Okay, if you look at the brain, it is developed, it is actually in two halves. Okay, there are two halves with a central section. The two parts are connected towards the center. Okay, and there is the left half and the right half, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. It looks like a ball of cauliflower. Okay, the vegetable cauliflower, it looks like that. It looks like a ball, and there are convoluted circles on top. Okay, wavy patterns of tissue right on top. And brain cells, once you see brain suffers an injury, the brain cells cannot regenerate. Many parts of your body have cells which can regenerate. For example, if you lose some skin on the top, if you lose some skin, it will regenerate. After a few days, you will see new skin coming out there. There are many parts of the body where the cells can regenerate, but the brain cells, once they are killed, they cannot regenerate. Okay, so the brain cells are completely different. Also, the brain, you see, in a human being is about 1,300 grams. Okay, about well developed 1,300 to 1,500 grams. That is almost 1.5 kilos, the weight of the brain. In a fully developed adult, that's 1,300 to 1,500. But it is not the weight of the brain which is important. It is the different centers which help to do the thinking and control and coordinate activities. And that is what makes the human brain a very special organ. Alright, now we are discussing this, and I asked you to see, look at this cord. Spinal cord is made up of nerves which supply information to think about. Okay, and this information actually goes back to the brain. Also here, what does the peripheral nervous system consist of? We had discussed this yesterday, and name the parts of the human brain. Alright, now let's just see this. This last paragraph which I am studying. Okay, see, the brain has three major parts. This is where we had stopped. The brain has three major parts or regions, namely the forebrain, the front part of the brain, the midbrain, the middle part, and the hindbrain. Hindbrain means the back part. Actually, this is just a broad classification. There are many other classifications of the brain. For example, this is called the medulla, the back part, which I told you yesterday. These are called the temples. Okay, this is the frontal lobe. These are the side lobes. Okay, the frontal lobe has a lot to do with the thinking. The back part, this whole back region is called the occiput. And the spinal cord, okay, the spinal cord is attached to the back of the brain, the hindbrain. Okay, the forebrain is the main thinking part of the brain. Now that's the important part. Okay, we think with the forebrain, the frontal lobes. It has regions which receive sensory impulses from various receptors. Separate areas of the forebrain are specialized for hearing, smell, sight, and so on. There are separate areas association where this sensory information is interpreted by putting it together with information from other receptors as well as information that is already stored in the brain. Alright, the brain, the working of the brain, as I said yesterday, is not fully understood as yet. Okay, there are many parts of the brain which are still not properly understood. Scientists are still trying to unravel the mysteries of the human brain. There are many centers of the brain we don't really know how they function. Okay, we are doing a good job of trying to understand the brain, but as an organ we may have understood it, but how the thought process takes place. For example, dreaming. We all know that we dream, but have you noticed that we always dream in black and white and not in color? Although we can see in color, but we never dream in color. We always dream in black and white. Why is that? Okay, so there are many questions about the brain which we haven't really understood fully. Alright, all this, a decision is made about how to respond, and the information is passed on to the motor areas. The motor areas are areas where the muscles are able to contract and relax, which control the movement of voluntary muscles, for example, our leg muscles. Remember, the heart muscle is an involuntary muscle. We can't control its movement. But the leg muscles, the hand muscles, are voluntary muscles. However, certain sensations are distinct from seeing or hearing. For example, how do we know that we have eaten enough? Now that's something totally different. It has nothing to do with movement. Okay, भूख लगी है, ओके, तो हमको मालूम पड़ जाता है कि हमको भूख लगी है. वो सेंसेशन पेट से नहीं आता है, वो ब्रेन से आता है. ओके, पेट को मालूम नहीं है कि भूख लगी है कि नहीं, हमारे ब्रेन को मालूम हो जाता है, और ब्रेन हमको बताता है कि भाई हमको भूख लगी है और हमको खाना है या तो प्यास लगी है. You want to drink water, that sensation of being thirsty is conveyed to you through the brain, and that's why you go and drink some water. You see, the organs do what they are supposed to do, but it is the brain, the master organ, which does the thinking. However, certain sensations are distinct from seeing other. For example, how do we know that we have eaten enough? The sensation of feeling full, our stomach is full, is because of a center associated with hunger, which is in a separate part of the brain. Hunger makes you feel hungry. You know that you are hungry, and that you go and try and eat. Okay, now look at this diagram. Here I have written the question here. Draw the figure of the human brain and label its various parts. Again, you might think that this is a very complex diagram. It won't be asked, but it has been asked in the exam, and you simply have to do it. As you grow older, there will be a lot of complicated diagrams, especially in biology. A lot of information to digest. Okay, that's the thing about science. Okay, this is not a novel. It's not a storybook where you can just enjoy it, read it once and that's it. This has to be digested and remembered, and that's why it takes a little longer. Okay, now let's see the different parts of the brain. You can see the forebrain. This is the forebrain, the front part. Okay, so you are actually facing sideways this way. So forebrain, then the cerebrum, the cranium of the skull. Alright, first let's understand. See, there are 5 flat bones on the top here. Okay, 5 flat bones. The bones are completely flat and curved. They provide what is called the cranium cavity, cranial cavity, or the cranium. The cranium is the skull, the bony skull. Okay, the bones protect the soft tissue inside. और ये जो bones होते हैं, 5 flat bones होते हैं, उसके नीचे भी एक प्लास्टिक शीट जैसे, ऑफ कोर्स इट्स नॉट प्लास्टिक, इट्स मेड ऑफ लिविंग मेम्ब्रेन, बट इसी तरह से एक ट्रांसपेरेंट शीट होता है. ओके, सो द ब्रेन इज एनवेलप्ड इन दैट मेम्ब्रेन. द ब्रेन इज एनवेलप्ड इन दैट मेम्ब्रेन. उसके ऊपर ये बोन्स होते हैं. Alright, the inner part of the brain, you can see that layer is there. Okay, there is the cranium, there is the skull, and उसके नीचे 2-3 लेयर है, और वो भी प्रोटेक्शन देते हैं, and then the brain is inside that. Now, when the brain is, of course, a mass of grey-white matter, that's why often you see brain को हम white matter बोलते हैं, grey matter बोलते हैं, because it is where the thinking is done. But it is all a mass of like a spaghetti or macaroni or Maggi noodles, उसकी तरह से, but much thicker. Okay, there are wavy patterns out there, and of course, it is a much complex organ the way it is laid out. Then of course in the midbrain, the middle part of the brain, you see there are different types. There is the forebrain, the cerebrum, cranial, and what you have to also understand here is that this is from the side on. ओके इस तरह से साइड से दिखाई दिया, इसलिए आपको अगर ऊपर से देखते हैं, ऊपर से ब्रेन को देखेंगे तो उसके दो हेमिस्फीयर होंगे. यू विल सी टू हेमिस्फीयर्स. द टू हेमिस्फीयर्स विल बी द टू साइड्स. ओके एक राइट हेमिस्फीयर और एक लेफ्ट हेमिस्फीयर, और दोनों के बीच में एक तरह से कनेक्शन होता है. ओके सो sometimes you see the left hemisphere is damaged, your body on the right hand side suffers a paralytic stroke or something like that. Converse connection hota hai, okay, opposite connection, diagonal connection, the left of the brain, the right of the body, the right of the brain, the left of the body, and that's why the two are bridged together. Okay, and there is a spinal cord. See where the spinal cord goes, the lower part of the brain, which I am showing here. Okay, the pons are also called pons varolii, the medulla oblongata, okay, and the cerebellum. The words pons varolii is the full name. Okay, pons varolii, medulla oblongata, and cerebellum. These are all parts of the brain which are the hindbrain, the lower part, and the spinal cord is attached out there. इसलिए spinal cord is a bridge between the brain and the rest of the body. All the messages go via the spinal cord to the brain. So the spinal cord is the highway to the brain, the 4-lane highway, national highway, right up to the brain. Messages are conveyed through that. Okay, and that's why the spinal cord is extremely important. If the spinal cord breaks, you know, for example, all of you must have seen that movie, the film Superman. Okay, the first person who acted as Superman in the original Superman movie was Christopher Reeve. Okay, Christopher Reeve fell from a horse in a horse riding accident. He fell on his neck, and his spinal cord was broken, permanently damaged, and right till his death, till at the age of 53, 54 he died, he could not recover from that. Spinal cord injuries can be permanent. They are very difficult to overcome. Even with the best doctors, you see sometimes it is hopeless. So spinal cords are well protected, of course, by nature. Okay, we'll discuss that also. But the spinal cord is extremely important because it's an information highway between the rest of the body and the brain. And you can see it is attached to the lower part of the brain. Then of course there is the hypothalamus. Okay, it's also a small part of the brain which allows us to think. Then pituitary gland. Then pituitary gland is called the master gland of the body. वहाँ से pituitary gland से बहुत सारे organs, hormones निकलते हैं, जैसे growth stimulating hormone, follicle stimulating hormone. All these hormones are secreted by the pituitary gland. It is almost like a peanut, small peanut-sized organ, or small peanut-sized, just a little bit swelling जैसा लगेगा एक peanut की size की तरह. And of course the hindbrain consisting of pons varolii, medulla, and cerebellum. Now this actually is a simple structure of the brain, but the real brain is far more complex. Okay, any injury to the brain is dangerous. Any injury to the brain is dangerous because it can be serious. It can lead to permanent damage to the body. I'll give you an example. Okay, one of the best racing car drivers, Formula 1 racing car drivers, was Michael Schumacher. Probably most of you have heard about his name, Michael Schumacher. Now he was driving his car very, very fast. Whenever he used to go 200, 300 kilometers per hour, was nothing. You see, they would have in a racetrack. And he never suffered an accident. But then after retirement, one day with his family, he went skiing in the Alps mountains in Europe. And he actually accidentally fell while skiing. Skiing करते करते वो गिर गया. और उसका तब उसने शायद हेलमेट पहना था कि नहीं मालूम नहीं है, but I think he was not wearing a helmet, and he fell on a rock, पत्थर के ऊपर गिरा, and he suffered injury to his brain. He was at once taken to the hospital, one of the best hospitals in France and Switzerland, but still for more than 2 years he was in a coma. Okay, injuries to the brain can be very serious. Okay, so that's why you got to be very careful. That's why people always say that wear a helmet, wear a helmet. But even if there are children who in foreign countries, when they go on a cycle, I'm not talking about a motorcycle or a scooter, even when they go on a cycle, they wear a helmet. You have to protect your head. Okay, it's vitally important. Damage to other parts of the body may mend easily, may not be such a problem, but damage to the brain can be permanent and life-threatening. Okay, so this is the brain. It's much more complex than this, but for your purpose, this is more than enough. Okay, we don't want to go too deep into this. Okay, study the label diagram of the human brain. We have seen that the different parts have specific functions. Can we find out the function of each part? Okay, what each one does and how it regulates. Okay, for example, ये hypothalamus है, it does a lot of thinking part. उसके बाजू में एक liquid जैसा region होता है, वहाँ पे it acts like a thermoregulator. It regulates the body temperature and so on. Alright. Now ये जो pons varoli है, medulla oblongata का पीछे का part, वहाँ पे visual cortex होता है. Visual cortex is which allows us to see. Okay, the optic nerve from the eyes is connected to the back part. Okay, the medulla, and we are able to see. Now let us look at the other use of the word reflex that we have talked about in the introduction. Our mouth waters when we see food we like without the food we like without our meaning to. Our mouth begins to water. Actually, there is no water in the mouth. It is saliva. Our mouth begins to salivate. Salivary glands होते हैं ऊपर, उसमें से salivary juice निकलता है, salivary enzymes निकलते हैं, and that is what we call watering. Our mouth waters when we see food we like without our meaning to water. Our hearts beat without our thinking about it. In fact, we cannot control these actions easily by thinking about them, even if we want to control the actions. Do we have to think about or remember to breathe or digest food? No. Digestion takes place whether we like it or not. Breathing takes place even while we are listening and watching this video or when I am talking to you. Breathing goes on. When we are fast asleep, the heart continues to beat. Do we have to think about or remember to breathe or digest food? So in between the simple reflex actions like change in the size of the pupil and the thought of actions such as moving a chair, there is another set of muscle movements over which we do not have any control. Such movements are called involuntary muscles movement. Involuntary movements. Okay. Many of these involuntary actions are controlled by the midbrain and the hindbrain. The brain controls these involuntary actions. All these involuntary actions, including blood pressure, salivation of the mouth, vomiting, are controlled by medulla in the hindbrain, the medulla oblongata. Think about activities like walking in a straight line, riding a bicycle, picking up a pencil. Okay, these are possible due to a part of the hindbrain called the cerebellum. The cerebellum allows us to carry out voluntary activities. The medulla controls involuntary activities. It is responsible for precision of voluntary actions and maintaining posture and balance of the body. Imagine what would happen each of these events fail to take place if you were not thinking about it. So cerebellum allows us to maintain balance. To give you an example, you see, try to walk in a straight line with your eyes closed. Okay, try to do it with your eyes closed and you will see you will find it slightly difficult. With your eyes open it becomes easier because there is control and coordination between the various senses. Okay, but the moment you close your eyes, you may not be able to walk in a straight line, perfectly straight line. You see in Olympic gymnasts, they balance on a small beam, उसको beam balance बोलते हैं. Beam के ऊपर balance करते हो और gymnastics कर सकते हैं. How difficult it would be if the cerebellum did not control those activities. So that's why all these balancing activities, physical activities that we can actually control are carried out by the cerebellum. Alright, then there is a question here, what is the cerebellum and what are the functions of the cerebellum? Okay, the answer is obviously here. Alright, all this of course you will get your PDF just like I have given the PDF. Right now focus only on understanding the chapter. Okay, so don't worry too much about the question answers, that I will be giving you the PDF just as I have given right now before. How are these tissues protected? Alright, now these are important tissues. The tissue of the brain tissue. Brain is vitally important. We all know that. Even a child of studying in the first and second standard knows how important the brain is. But such an important organ needs protection. See, for example, we got a bony cage, this rib cage. Okay, यहाँ पे जो ribs हैं, these ribs, they help us in a different way. They provide structure and form to the body, but at the same time they provide protection to the softer inner organs like the heart and the lungs. The heart and the lungs are protected by the bony cage, the rib cage. There are number of ribs, 12 ribs on both the sides. They help to protect it. And behind the bony rib cage, there are muscles. The muscles also provide protection to the internal organs. So our body is designed for protection and protecting the vital organs. The brain also is designed for protection. It is stored, or rather it is inside the cranial cavity, the bones. These are bones you see everywhere. There is protection for them. Okay, even the eyes are very sharp, but they are protected by this bony cage. This bony, the bones protruding from the skull. ये जो बोन cheek bones है, cheek bones and the forehead bones, they provide a hollow depression in which the eyes can be put inside. So what happens is all these vital organs are properly protected. The bone, the main function of the bones, the skeleton, is to provide structure and form. एक structure देता है और ऊपर से वो protection भी देता है. Okay, so the brain needs protection. It is protected by 5 flat bones at the top, the cranial cavity. इसको cranial cavity बोलते हैं, and the rest of the cheek bones and the bones on the side. Inside, of course, there is still more protection. It is enveloped in a tissue, the whole brain. Just imagine you go into a departmental store, आपको खरीदना है कुछ और वो आपको एक प्लास्टिक बैग देता है और आप प्लास्टिक बैग में पॉलीथीन बैग में डाल के ले जाते हो. इसी तरह से एक कवरिंग होता है जिसके अंदर the brain is inside that. It's enveloped in that. Okay, it's a transparent tissue, and not only that, there is also a liquid inside. It is called the cerebrum fluid, the cerebrospinal fluid, a liquid. Okay, that liquid is also, it provides nutrition to the brain, and at the same time it acts like a shock absorber. शॉक एब्सॉर्बर मतलब क्या, जंपर्स. जैसे आपकी बाइसिकल या तो स्कूटर या स्कूटी के ऊपर आगे का पोर्शन और पीछे एक जंपर्स होते हैं, शॉक एब्सॉर्बर्स होते हैं. द लिक्विड एक्चुअली, द ब्रेन इज इनसाइड दैट लिक्विड. It's not completely floating, it is properly attached, but the liquid helps to absorb the shocks. So if you accidentally hit your head somewhere or this way, there is no permanent damage if it is small. Okay, थोड़ी सी तकलीफ होती है, लेकिन the brain is able to absorb the shock. Alright, a delicate organ like the brain, which is so important for a variety of activities, needs to be carefully protected. For this, the body is designed so that the brain sits inside the bony box, the skull. Inside the box, the brain is contained in a fluid-filled balloon, which provides further shock absorption. वो fluid है ना, liquid, वो shock absorber की तरह काम करता है. If you run your hand down the middle of your back, either you will feel a hard, bumpy structure. This is the vertebral column or the backbone which protects the spinal cord. Spinal cord के बारे में मैंने जैसे बोला था, okay, it has got what it is completely surrounded by a set of bones. Okay, the human vertebral column or the backbone consists of 32 circular bones. They are not perfect circles, but they are circular bones through which उसके अंदर एक thread like structure okay जाता है. वो thread like structure है, वो spinal cord है. The cord means thread like structure. Okay, not the entire backbone. Backbone में जो bones है वो important है protection के लिए, लेकिन वो इतना important नहीं है जितना कि वो spinal cord है. Spinal cord which is attached to the back of the brain, that is the important part. और वो जो thread like structure है spinal cord, उसके आजू बाजू 32 बोन है, 32 bones, they are called the vertebra. These vertebra along दो vertebra के बीच में इस तरह का cartilage होता है, soft cushion like substance. दो के बीच में दो vertebra होते हैं, उसके बीच में ऐसा cushion जैसा होता है. ओके, इसको cartilage बोलते हैं. Cartilage दोनों के बीच में होता है. वो भी देखो, इसको हम दबा सकते हैं थोड़े उंगली के बीच में इस तरह से, because it is soft, not like bones. So it allows to absorb the shock. जब shock होता है ना, जब कोई गिरता है तो ये जो shock absorber की तरह काम करता है और वो bones उनको absorb कर लेता है. और फिर उसके बाद उस जो कोई भी problem होता है, there is also a liquid inside, the cerebrospinal fluid. वो ब्रेन से वहां तक फ्लूइड जाता है, and that fluid also acts like a shock absorber. मतलब nature has provided super protection to the brain and the spinal cord. But still, जब हम गिर जाते हैं, बहुत heavy accidents होते हैं, तब इस तरह का damage हो जाते हैं. How does the nervous tissue cause action now? Now we come to the next part, how the nervous tissue actually causes us to move. So far we have been talking about nervous tissues and how it collects information. Okay, sends it around the body, processes information, makes decision based on information, and then conveys the decisions to muscles for action. ये पूरा information highway है. मसल से लेके स्पाइनल कॉर्ड से लेके ब्रेन से वापस स्पाइनल कॉर्ड और स्पाइनल कॉर्ड से फिर से मसल तक, और फिर हम एक्शन लेते हैं. ये पूरा इंफॉर्मेशन पाथवे. Okay, in other words, when the action or movement is to be performed, muscle tissues will do the final job. How do animal muscles move? When a nerve impulse reaches the muscle fiber must contract. It moves. Okay. How does a cell move that? वो movement कैसा possible है? Okay, it changes shape. The muscle move. The simplest idea of movement at the cellular level is that muscle cells will move by changing their shape at the cellular level. Is that muscle cells will move by changing their shape so that they can shorten. They change their shape and they shorten, just like an amoeba changes its shape. So the next question is, how do muscles change their shape? There must be a mechanism by which they can change their shape, and that comes in the form of proteins. You see, there are millions of proteins in the body. In fact, there is a whole science in biology devoted to proteins. It is just complete knowledge based. उसके ऊपर पूरा एक knowledge है proteins के ऊपर. Okay, so the next question is, how do they change their shape? The answer must lie in the chemistry of cellular components, cellular part. Muscle cells have special proteins that change both their shape and their arrangement in the cells in response to nervous electrical impulses. When this happens, new arrangement of the proteins takes place. New arrangement of these proteins gives muscle cells a shorter form. Okay. Remember when we talked about muscle tissues in class 9, there was different kinds of muscles such as voluntary muscles and involuntary muscles. Based on what we have discussed so far, what do you think is the difference between them? Alright, so once again, before I come to coordination in plants, okay, there has to be a way in which movement takes place. Contraction of muscles. You see, sometimes you may have experienced painful muscle contraction. उसको हम cramps बोलते हैं, CRAMPS, cramps. किसी को पेट में क्रैम्प हो जाता है, किसी को हाथ में या पैर में. calf muscles, लेग के जो पीछे होता है calf muscles, और hamstring muscles, thigh muscles. Thigh muscles are the biggest muscles in the body. उसको hamstring muscles बोलते हैं, hamstrings. ओके, और नीचे काफ के नीचे, नी के नीचे जो है उसको काफ मसल्स बोलते हैं. सबसे ज्यादा क्रैम्पिंग, कॉन्ट्रैक्शन ऑफ मसल्स इसमें होता है और काफी पेनफुल होता है. लेकिन वो कॉन्ट्रैक्शन होता है, उसकी वजह अलग होती है. बट इन द सेम वे फॉर मूवमेंट आल्सो कॉन्ट्रैक्शन इज पॉसिबल, बट कॉन्ट्रैक्शन हैज टू occur, और उसके लिए प्रोटीन्स जवाबदार है. प्रोटीन्स अलाउ दिस कॉन्ट्रैक्शन. रीअरेंजमेंट ऑफ प्रोटीन्स एट द सेल्युलर लेवल causes the muscles to shorten and lengthen, and that is how response takes place to external stimuli. All right, now we come to coordination, coordination in plants. We were talking about coordination in animals so far. Now what about plants? Can plants move? Yes, plants can move, but their movement is limited. Plants do not show locomotion. Now what is locomotion? Locomotion is the ability to move from one place to another place. That is called locomotion, not movement. Movement is possible in both plants and animals. Okay, but plants obviously show limited movement. They cannot locomotive. It's not possible. They cannot move from one place to another place. They are fixed. Okay, animals can move. Animals show locomotion. They can move from one place to another place. But plants are fixed, so they do not show locomotion. But do they show movement? Yes, they do show movement. What kind of movement? Different types of movement in response to sunlight, in response to gravity, movement in response to water, movement in response to chemicals, upward movement, direct or downward movement, circular movement, okay, or sideways movement. They show movement, but of a limited type of movement, because they don't have a nervous system. They don't have specialized organs. Okay, they don't have special organs like hearts and muscles. They don't have nerves. Plants do not have hearts, lungs, muscles, nerves, different types of nerves, motor nerves, sensory nerves. So how will they show movement? Their movement is different. Their movement is caused due to hormones. We'll study that in detail. So remember, plants do not have nervous system, they do not have specialized organs, and therefore they cannot show the kind of movement that animals show. They show limited type of motion, a different type of movement. Animals have a nervous system for controlling and coordinating the activities of the body, but plants have neither a nervous system nor do they have muscles. So how do plants respond to stimuli? When we touch the leaves of a chewy mui plant, the sensitive touch-me-not plant of the mimosa family. Now all of you have seen a touch-me-not plant. I remember as children, whenever we saw touch-me-not plant, all of us were fascinated. उसके लीव्स को टच करते हैं तो इमीडिएटली लीव्स बंद हो जाते थे. ओके, रिस्पॉन्स वाज इमीडिएट. थोड़ी देर के बाद अपने आप लीव्स खुलने लगते थे. Okay, that plant, that sensitive plant of the mimosa, that touch me not plant belongs to the mimosa family. Okay, it is sensitive to touch. In the same way, there are many other plants which are quite sensitive to touch. उसके flowers को touch करो तो flowers धीरे से बंद हो जाते हैं. Okay, so what is it that causes these plants to respond to stimuli in different ways? So yes, they begin to fold up and root. When a seed germinates, the roots go down, the stem comes up in the air. What happens? Okay, now अगर एक seed को ले लेते हैं, papaya seed or whatever seed you want to, you plant it in the soil in your garden or in the school or anywhere, in a potted plant also. You can use a potted plant these days. I know nobody has a garden. So what you do is, when you plant the seeds, after a few days, the seed germinates. It breaks open. When it breaks open, okay, उसमें से radical निकलता है, एक upward radical, okay, which goes towards the sunlight. Okay, it breaks through the soil. Soil में से बाहर निकल के it goes towards the light. That is called phototropism. Photo means light. Tropism means movement. Movement towards light. But on the other hand, the downward part of the seed, the radical, it moves towards the downward into the soil to form roots. Okay, so the downward movement of the seed, the part of the seed, the downward movement is caused due to Earth's gravity. In this case, of course, it is also caused due to water in the soil. So you can call that geotropism. Geo means earth. Okay, so the radical, the root part of the plant is moving towards the soil or moving downwards towards the earth, and that's why it's called geotropism. Then we have got another type of movement which is called hydrotropism. Hydro means water, so hydrotropism is movement towards water. So you have geotropism, a type of movement towards gravity, that is towards the earth. You have got chemotropism, movement towards chemicals, and you have got hydrotropism, movement towards water. Phototropism, movement towards light. So these kind of movements are exhibited by plants, but all of these movements are related directly or indirectly towards the growth of the plant. Suppose seed को growth करना बंद हो जाए तो, if suppose a seed it stops growing, then it will not show any movement. Understood? Because then now it has stopped growing. So in plants, all the movements are associated with growth of the plants. Sometimes they may not be, but mostly it is all to do with growth. Okay, so what happens? Firstly, the leaves of the sensitive plant move very quickly in response to touch. This is about the mimosa touch me not plant. There is no growth involved in this movement. Now this is different. Okay, this is not the normal growth. Here it is only responding to external stimuli. When it folds its leaves, there is no response, there is no growth involved. Okay, on the other hand, the directional movement of a seedling is caused by growth. It moves downward in search of water. A seed, a sapling. If it is prevented from growing, it will not show any movement. So plants show two different types of movements. Now this is key. Plants show two different types of movement. One dependent on growth and the other independent of growth. Okay, so here just writing a note out here. Plants actually show different types of movement. Remember that. Okay, plants show, name the type of movements shown by plants. Okay, name the type of movements shown by plants. Plants show two types of movements. One is dependent on growth, other independent of growth. Okay, this is again a question which helps you to focus on what you are studying. It just helps you name the type of movement shown by growth. There are two types of movement shown by growth. One is a response to external stimuli, which has nothing to do with growth, and the other is dependent on growth. Alright, so immediate response to stimulus. Alright, immediate response to stimulus. Let us think about the first kind of movement where there is no growth involved, such as that of the sensitive mimosa plant, that is a touch me not plant. Since no growth is involved, the plant must actually move its leaves in response to touch. Leaves को move करना पड़ेगा, but there is no nervous tissue and there are no muscles. So how does it move? How does the plant detect touch, and how do the leaves fold up in response to that? Alright, see a photograph is shown out here of the touch me not plant, very small plant. Okay, the plant itself is small and the leaves are even very small. If you touch the leaves there, they fold quickly. If you think about where exactly the plant is touched and what part of the plant actually moves, it is clear that movement happens at a point different from the point of touch. Okay, so information that a touch has occurred must be communicated. The plant also uses electrical chemicals. The plants also use electrochemical means, electricity as well as chemicals to convey this information from one cell to another cell. But unlike in animals, there is no specialized tissues and muscles and nerves for conduction of information. Finally, again, in animals, some cells must change shape in order for movement to happen. Like in animals, instead of the specialized proteins found in animal muscle cells, plant cells change shape by changing the amount of water content in them, resulting in swelling or shrinking and therefore in changing shapes. In the mimosa plant, the moment you touch the leaves, the water leaves the cells. When the water leaves the cells, so the cells begin to shrink and the leaves collapse. After some time, the water re-enters the cells, and the swelling of the cells causes the leaves to appear large. Okay, they fold down and fold up that way. In other words, the response to the stimulus is that the cells allow the water to leave from the cells. As soon as पानी जैसे सेल के बाहर निकल जाता है ना, तो सेल्स श्रिंक हो जाते हैं और लीव्स कोलैप्स हो जाते हैं. थोड़ी देर के बाद अपने आप पानी फिर से सेल के अंदर जाता है, और जैसे ही सेल के अंदर जाते हैं तो सेल फूल जाते हैं और लीव्स फिर से ऊपर आ जाते हैं. Okay, so that is a different way for movement of plants. Okay, not that doesn't happen in the case of animals. We have got specialized proteins which allow a cell to change its shape in animals, but in plants it is all about something happening at the cellular level. Alright, movement due to growth, we will discuss this continue to do this chapter, will come up till here only, movement due to growth. Alright, I'll stop here for today. Alright, once again let me just give the final instructions. Some of you are doing a very good job. You are watching the videos every day, making comments and making constructive comments about what you want. If anyone wants anything specific, for example, if you want more videos on maths, by all means let me know. I know maths is far more difficult. Some of you find maths more difficult than science. That is perfectly okay. But what I want to inform you about is this, that स्कूल खुलेगी नहीं, उसके बाद इतना समय नहीं मिलेगा. ओके, स्कूल खुलने के बाद इतना समय नहीं मिलेगा, इसलिए हम पूरे चैप्टर्स फिर से नहीं कर पाएंगे, इसलिए अभी करना जरूरी है. जो बच्चे ये फिर से स्टूडेंट्स जो अपने घर पे नहीं कर रहे हैं, आई एम डूइंग एवरी सिंगल चैप्टर पेज बाय पेज, जैसे क्लासरूम में करता हूँ या तो ये इधर ट्यूशन में करता हूँ, इसी तरह से मैं करता हूँ, सो दैट यू कैन गेट अ अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द चैप्टर. और उसके बाद तुम नोटबुक में लिख सकते हो, अपने जो टेक्स्ट बुक है उसमें बाजू में अंडरलाइन कर सकते हो, बाजू में लिखना है तो लिख सकते हो पेंसिल से, अंडरलाइन हाइलाइटर से अंडरलाइन भी कर सकते हो. दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट यू डू नॉर्मली इन द क्लासरूम, एंड आई एम अलाउइंग यू टू डू द सेम थिंग. एंड फाइनली ऑफ कोर्स there is no problem, because I will also be sending you extra questions and textual questions also, MCQs in a PDF, and those students who I find are doing it regularly, okay, you see you will benefit immensely. थोड़ा पेशेंट रहना पड़ता है और डेली काम करना पड़ता है. I have got no response from some of the students. Some of the students are responding every day. I know they are watching. थोड़ा सा communication है, लेकिन कुछ स्टूडेंट्स के बारे में मुझे कुछ पता नहीं, and that's not right. Okay, so for the rest of the day you may watch the video today or watch it tomorrow, no problem. Let me know what you think. Thank you and have a nice day.